when teenagers take up roles that world leaders have failed at, you know that we have reached a turning point when it comes to taking action for climate change. Hi, I'm Swati, and I'm the founder of Social Design Collaborative. Countries like India might rank low in terms of carbon footprint per person, but that's only because so many of us are hiding behind the poor. Rural communities and the urban poor have the lowest carbon footprint, as they live lightly on the land, using locally available materials to build their houses and for food production with very minimum consumption, when compared to you and I, who might be using refrigerators, washing machines, air conditioners and cars all the time. However, it is the very same communities who are forgotten and often even removed when it comes to environmental projects and ecological restoration. This is exactly what is happening with the farmers on the floodplains of the Yamuna in Delhi. Since independence, they had been farming there by paying rent to a farmers' cooperative, which was providing 5-year leases to them. However, a few decades later, the system was stopped by the planning authorities, as the imagination of the riverfront and the floodplains began to change over the decades. From previous plans to concretize the river and build amusement parks, which were fortunately dropped, the latest plans are to build biodiversity zones and public spaces along the river. Now, from the point of view of ecology and the city's relationship to the river, this is a good idea, especially considering how polluted it is. But we can't look at sustainability through a narrow lens of ecology alone. We also need to factor in social sustainability and all the livelihoods which will be disrupted if such a development plan is implemented. The farmers and the fisher folks are the custodians of our river, who have had the longest relationship with it, which is otherwise merely considered a backyard to the city today. Instead, they've been facing regular evictions over the last few years when their homes and fields have been bulldozed over by the DDA, which is the Delhi Development Authority, that considers them encroachers. There are allegations that the vegetables that are being grown there might be polluted, as the river is polluted. But there are solutions to this. More importantly, we need to ask why the farmers should bear the brunt of our pollution, when it is they who live in the most sustainable way, close to nature, which is also the source of their livelihoods. Any efforts at environmentalism are incomplete if we leave out marginalized communities who not only depend on it but also nurture it. It's really what we call bourgeois environmentalism. If our concerns are limited to ecology, as long as we get clean air, as long as we get clean water, as long as we get green spaces. Are the farmers the encroachers, or is the city encroaching on their land? In the name of religion, Akshardham Temple has been built on the floodplains. In the name of development, metro depots and bus depots have been built on the floodplains. Now, in the name of smart cities, do we want to remove the farmers from the heart of the city to create jogging tracks and parks? Is there no place for them in our future imaginations of our city? These are the questions that we have been trying to raise through the practice and advocacy efforts at Social Design Collaborative. In 2017, we had built a temporary school in Yamuna Khadar on the eastern floodplains of the city, which was designed to be dismantled to protect it from evictions. To be able to design it, we learned from the building practices of the farmers themselves, who built their shelters adapting to the annual floods and coping with the government's demolition drives. The materials we used to build their schools, such as bamboo and reused wood, are the same materials that the farmers used to build their homes. This was important not only because they're low cost and locally available, but also because they help create a great sense of pride and ownership in the local community. In 2019, however, due to land ownership issues, the school had to be relocated further south of the river, outside the city. Throwing the question back at us, is there no space for our farmers within the city? While the design of the school might have provided a quick fix for an unfair system as a coping mechanism, we realized that we needed to focus our efforts on why the farmers were being evicted in the first place. Do we need to remove farms to build parks? Can't we have both? Especially now that urban farming has become such a buzzword around the world. These questions become even more relevant considering Delhi is currently drawing up its master plan for 2041. Master plans for cities across the world are increasingly becoming participatory and moving towards inclusivity. But this can become possible only if we are willing to identify the roles and protect the rights of the most marginalized and the most vulnerable groups in our cities.